The Assembly is now in session. Assemblymember Garcia notices the absence of a quorum. The sergeants at arms will prepare the chamber and bring in the absent members. The clerk will call the roll.
Ashajian, Alejo, Allen, Baker, Bigelow, Bloom, Bonilla, Bonta, Bro, Brown, Burke, Calderon, Campos, Chang, Chow, Chavez, David Chu, Kansan Chu, Cooley, Cooper, DeBobne, Daly, Daly, Dodd, Eggman, Frazier, Gaines, Gallagher, Cristina Garcia, Eduardo Garcia, Gatto, Gibson, Gomez, Gonzalez, Gordon, Gray, Grove, Hadley, Harper, Hernandez, Holden, Irwin, Jones, Jones Sawyer, Kim, Lackey, Levine, Linder, Lopez, Lowe, Mainshine, Mathis, Mays, McCarty, Medina, Melendez, Mullen, Nazarian, Obernolte, O'Donnell, Olson, Patterson, Perea, Quirk, Rendon, Ridley Thomas, Rodriguez, Salas, Santiago, Steinorth, Stone, Thurmond, Ting, Wagner, Waldron, Weber, Wilk, Williams, Wood. Madam Speaker.
Members, a quorum is present. We ask our guests and visitors in the rear of the chamber and in the gallery to please stand for the prayer. The day's prayer will be offered by our Assembly Chaplain, Father Constantine Papadimos. Father Papadimos.
Good morning. Let us pray. Lord, as we begin our work this day, we pause to remember St. Patrick, whom we will officially commemorate in a few days. When he came to Ireland in the 5th century, it was a pagan country. When he ended his earthly life some 30 years later, faith in you, Lord, was established in every corner. And so, to honor St. Patrick and all of Ireland this morning, we offer this traditional Irish prayer. May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and a blessing in each trial. For every problem that life sends, a faithful friend to share. For every sigh, a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Father. We ask our guests and visitors to remain standing and join us for the flag salute. Please join Assemblymember O'Donnell as he leads us in the pledge. Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes, members, put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge to the flag of the United States of America.
You may be seated. Reading of the previous day's journal.
Assembly Chamber, Sacramento, Monday, March 9th, 2015. The Assembly met at 12 noon. Honorable Tony G. Atkins, Speaker of the Assembly presiding. Chief Clerk E. Dotson Wilson at the desk.
Ms. Garcia moves. Ms. Olson seconds. That the reading of the previous day's journal be dispensed with. Presentations of petitions, there are none. Introduction and reference of bills will be deferred. Reports of committees will be deemed read and amendments deemed adopted. Messages from the governor, there are none. Messages from the Senate, there are none. Moving to motions and resolutions, the absences for the day for legislative business, Assemblymember Kim. For illness, Assembly members Burke and Hernandez. Ms. Garcia, you are recognized for your motions.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent to suspend Assembly Rule 118 and allow Assembly members Breaux and Mullen to have guests and photographers on the floor today.
Without objection, the request is granted.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent to suspend Assembly Rule 45.5 and allow Assembly members Brown, Holden, Jones Sawyer, and Steinnorth to speak on adjournment in memory today.
Without objection, the request is granted. Members, moving to guest introductions. Mr. Alejo, you are recognized for your special guest introduction today.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I would like to, for all of us to welcome Leadership Morgan Hill from my district. This is a program with in-depth knowledge of local political and economic governmental structures of our community that is taught over a 9-month program for its participants. Many current top-level community leaders whose skills and decisions are shaping the city participate in the program to share their experiences with other community members. But by interacting with the current leaders, program participants have the opportunity to learn new skills and develop a deeper understanding of critical issues such as crime, economic development, education, and human services. Please join me in welcoming these great leaders of South Santa Clara County, the pride of the 30th District. Welcome, everybody.
Colleagues, let's move to our next guest introduction, Mr. Levine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Assembly the students from Olive and Elementary School from Novato. In the gallery, we have 2 classes of 4th graders. They are here for a class tour of the Capitol. Please join me in welcoming the students from Olive Elementary and Novato. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levine. Colleagues, why don't we now move to the Assembly observance of Irish American Heritage Month. Without objection, we'll move to file item number 7, ACR 28, for the purpose of 3rd reading. Mr. Mullen, are you ready to proceed with this item?
I am, Mr. Speaker.
The clerk will read ACR 28.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 28 by Assemblymember Mullen and others relative to Irish American Heritage Month.
Mr. Mullen, you may open on the measure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. ACR 28 will designate March 2015 as Irish American Heritage Month in honor of the many contributions Irish Americans have made to the country and the state of California. Millions of Irish people, faced with severe hardship due to famine and poverty in their nation, immigrated to the United States over the last 2 centuries in search of a more promising future for themselves and their families. The Irish spirit of determination, perseverance, and grit prevailed against dangerous seas and deadly conditions. Irish Americans suffered prejudice and discrimination upon first arriving in the United States. As the years went on, Irish Americans became deeply integrated in their communities and made numerous contributions in all aspects of American society and culture. These contributors with Irish ancestry include eBay's chief executive, John Donahoe, the first female commander of a space shuttle, Eileen Collins, and former presidents John F. Kennedy and Ronald Reagan. Today, over 34 million Americans claim Irish heritage, and Irish Americans continue to contribute greatly to America's and California's politics, economy, and culture. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Mr. Gallagher, you are recognized.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, members, I rise with my esteemed colleague in support of this resolution. My own family, ancestors left County Donegal and arrived in California in 1868 and ultimately established a farm and ranch that on which we work, play, and live to this day. The Irish have endured through the centuries and through their time here in America through a deep and abiding faith, sheer determination, and a self-deprecating wit that ultimately allowed them to break the bonds of injustice, and as my colleague put it so well and shared with us the other day, to rise. There's a friend of ours here in Sacramento that we all love and cherish who told me that his Irish father would often say, "Don't care a lick what they say about you. Just make sure they don't stop talking about you." We have a temper, 'tis true, but it's because we are passionate. We are willing to fight for our values and to right wrongs. We have a fire inside that would not be extinguished. And we came to America certainly because of the hardship that we endured, but I think also because of our love of liberty, our shared love of liberty, and our aversion to tyranny. We would not and we will not be subject to a government that does not respect and recognize our God-given rights. And we have, as the title of a book about the late Phil Burton, a rage for justice. As many groups that came to America, the Irish made great contributions to and enriched literature and music. Through the fiddle, flute, and harp, the Irish influenced country, bluegrass, and even, in the case of the Dropkick Murphys, punk rock. The Irish love of literature and poetry perhaps began when the first Irish monks copied the great Western works during the Dark Ages, thereby preserving works that would have been destroyed and lost to posterity. Those same works were later studied by our founders in creating our great republic. As we know, Irish Americans have made tremendous contributions to our country. Irish were first known to be foremost in the ranks of our police and fire departments. And in fact, in the early days, a young Irish man or woman was destined to either become a priest, police officer, or a politician. Their legacy is one of commitment and justice and community. Thank you, members, and I ask for your aye vote on this measure.
Mr. Daley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today as a fourth-generation Irish American. While the history of Irish immigration to the U.S. has been marked by highs and lows, taken as a whole, ours is a proud legacy. A legacy of individuals who rose from the rank and file to leadership positions in labor unions and led the fight to ensure good-paying jobs for Irish immigrants and other workers as well. A legacy of prominence in the sports world, including boxers like John L. Sullivan and Gentleman Jim Corbett, and baseball legends like John McGraw and Charles Comiskey, who built powerhouse teams in New York and Chicago. A legacy of people like Al Smith, the grandson of Irish immigrants who rose from poverty in the Lower East Side of New York to become governor of that state in the 1920s. I thank Assemblymember Mullen for bringing forth the resolution. Thank you very much.
Seeing and hearing no further debate, Assemblymember Mullen, you may close.
I just want to thank my colleagues for their thoughtful comments, and I respectfully ask that the first roll be open for co-authors.
At this time, the clerk will open the roll. This is for co-authors, members. The clerk will close the roll. There are 76 co-authors that have been added. Colleagues, at this time, we can take a voice vote on this item. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Mullen, you're recognized at your desk for your introduction and announcement.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Speaker. Traditional Irish dancing is an integral part of Irish culture that has developed in Ireland over many centuries, dating back to 500 BC. The Wayland Kennelly Academy has been promoting Irish culture through dance in the Sacramento region for over 25 years and in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 50 years. The school has also won many national and international titles. The dancers in the back of our chamber today competed at the World Qualifying Irish Dance Championships in Phoenix, Arizona. They will be competing at the North American Irish Dance Championships and the Great Britain National Championships this summer. In honor of St. Patrick's Day upcoming and in accordance with tradition in this assembly, these dancers will perform in the rotunda upon adjournment of session today. Please welcome them to the chamber.
At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Bro at your desk for your guest introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Being raised by my grandmother, Margaret Eleanor Collins Bro, whose grandparents emigrated from Ireland in the 1800s, it's a great honor for me to introduce our guest today. With us is Paschal Donohoe, the Irish Government Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport, and a member of the Irish Parliament from the District of Dublin Central. Paschal first served on the Dublin City Council, then in the Irish Senate, and now in Dáil Éireann, the main house of the Irish Parliament. Paschal's presence today is a testament to the continued esteem in which California and Ireland regard our special relationship. I also have the honor to recognize Consul General of Ireland to the Western United States, Phil Grant. The Irish Consulate, located in San Francisco, recently celebrated its 80th anniversary and was among the first 10 diplomatic offices established by Ireland upon its independence. The consulate provides assistance and support to our Irish immigrants, our Irish community organizations, and fosters the business, tourism, and academic ties that make Ireland one of California's most important international partners. There will be a reception upon adjournment of the session in room 3162 for members and staffs to meet our guests. Please welcome our guests to the chamber.
On behalf of Mr. Mullen and our Irish American members, I'd like to thank our special guests for joining us today. This concludes our ceremony. Colleagues, why don't we now go to the business on the daily file? There are no items on second reading today. For Assembly third reading, file item 1, ACR 2, we will pass and retain. For file item 2, ACR 17 by Assembly Member Chang. Ms. Chang, are you ready? The clerk will read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 17 by Assemblymember Chang relative to Women and Girls in STEM Week.
Assemblymember Chang, you may open.
Members, as we celebrate Women's History Month, I am honored to bring you ACR 17, a resolution to commemorate April 5th through 11th as Women and Girls in STEM Week. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are in high demand in California and across the country. And as many of us know, if we don't encourage more participation in these fields, there will not be enough qualified candidates to fill the jobs, especially given that the number of STEM jobs in California will grow by 19% over the next decade. Here's the good news. Women in STEM careers earn 33% more than those in non-STEM occupations. STEM can literally be a life raft to pull women and girls out of poverty and into the middle class and beyond. Now, here's the bad news. Women are underrepresented in these fields, and this challenge goes all the way back to middle school and extends into the job market. Studies show a high level of interest in STEM at the early ages, but throughout their primary and secondary education, girls pursue other fields. At the college level, women represent 60% of all bachelor degrees, but here in California, only 15% of engineering graduates are women. And it should come as no surprise that the STEM job market reflects these numbers as well. Despite this unsettling reality, there are still so many women who serve as an inspiration for tomorrow's STEM leaders, from Neha Ansari, a biochemistry major and a current ASI board member at Cal State Fullerton, to the CEO of Yahoo. And history is full of creative and brilliant women in this field. Grace Hopper, for example, a United States Navy Rear Admiral who invented the first computer language compiler. When I was president of Youth Science Center, a nonprofit devoted to STEM education, I witnessed firsthand how girls are inspired by the creativity and innovation that is experienced through the STEM fields. I had kindergartners and first graders learning about human anatomy with cow's eyes. It was fascinating to see the interest in these girls' eyes. Members, promoting STEM awareness for women and girls is absolutely imperative to the next evolution of education, training, empowerment, and employment. We need to ensure that any labor force development strategy has a woman and girls strategy. ACR 17 is about a cultural recognition of this issue as well as celebrating the women who do pursue STEM careers. This resolution will help foster a larger effort to support women and girls at every step along the path to employment in the STEM fields. Please join me in this very important effort by supporting California Women and Girls in STEM Week.
Assemblymember Olson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I, too, rise in support of ACR 17. Promoting women and girls to enter competitive fields in STEM is both a learning opportunity and an economic opportunity. STEM careers are growing, and they are great paying jobs. As the author said, STEM careers are expected to grow by 19% in California just in the next 10 years. We also know that the STEM workforce is essential to filling the demands of our new, innovative, modern economy. And so it's really important that we work so hard in our education system and in our business community to address the skills gap that exists today so that these great companies can start to hire more and more Californians. And I wanted to encourage all of us for the role that we can play as well outside of the education system as parents. I have a daughter, and we've noticed as we've started to do more and more tours of these different companies that many of our kids are ill-equipped for the jobs of tomorrow. And so what can we do to supplement their schooling and give them the tools and the learning opportunities that they need to be successful? And so we've been looking at our own kids, the boys and the girls, and determining what are their interests, what are their passions. And one of the things that our daughter loves is she loves home design. And I don't have a single creative design bone in my body. So what we've done is explore various apps, various software systems, etc., that we can get her so she can just play with technology and explore and learn on her own at 10 years old. And as the author said, the key is starting early, because by the time our students are in high school, it's often too late, and they've already made a predetermined decision on whether they like science, technology, engineering, and math. So let's start with our youngest of children from preschool to kindergarten on up and show them the opportunities that exist in this changing economy, in this world. We'll close the skills gap. We'll prepare our kids for the future of California. So thank you for bringing ACR 17 forward, and I encourage all of us to be very supportive in co-authoring the legislation today.
Assemblymember Bonilla.
I also rise in support of ACR 17. It's very, very important that we have the perspective of women in academia, around STEM fields, and also in industry and in business. We know that when women get together and give their perspective, it actually changes the outcome. So this is a very important thing for us to focus on and recognize. I encourage your aye vote.
Assemblymember Cooley.
Colleagues, I'm actually very pleased to rise in support of ACR 17. Next month, right after this week that we are dedicating to STEM education for women, I will do my 4th math science camp with a group of middle schoolers from Rancho Cordova. Starting back in 2008, this has become the hot ticket item on this middle school campus, as middle schoolers go off for 4 days to learn about math and science. I am now encountering, as I go out in my community, seniors who are going on to college who started in that math science camp. And I can attest the thrill and excitement of the young women that will go on this camp out with me and the Mills Middle School instructional staff to be out learning math and science. And it is so vital that we maintain this sort of focus, that this is a wide open career where they can achieve great satisfaction, and to support it. So the excitement that gets kindled in the elementary grades and middle school is retained and sustained right through to college and on to great achievement. So it's an honor to rise today in support of this tremendous measure, and I look forward to camping with some future women in the STEM programs in just a month.
Assemblymember Baker.
Thank you. I rise in support of ACR 17 as well. The development of world-class talent in the STEM fields is critical to California's global and national leadership. We know that. Californians want to out-innovate, out-build, out-create the entire globe. And we can't do that unless women and girls are well represented in the STEM fields. I'm a mother of a 6-year-old daughter, and when I've toured companies in the Bay Area that are at the cutting edge of innovation and technology, and I go on the engineering floor, and I see no women. I don't see them in the boardrooms, and I'm thinking of my daughter and your daughters and girls all around California who have a future in STEM fields if we can help support them. Also well aware of the fact that if you care about the gender gap, and I bet we all do, we have to care about making sure there's opportunity for women and girls in STEM fields. Opportunity in a way that doesn't take away chances for boys. I have a son as well. I'd like to make sure he has a great STEM opportunity if he chooses that, but that creates opportunity for everyone. So it starts by our state making a priority on this issue. I thank my colleague for offering the resolution, and I encourage an aye vote.
Seeing and hearing no further debate, Assemblymember Chang, you may close.
Thank you to those who stood and expressed your support for this important issue, and I look forward to working with Chairwoman Bonilla and my colleagues on the Select Committee on STEM Education, as well as all of you here on making progress for girls in STEM. And I respectfully ask for an aye vote on this measure, but I also like to request that the first roll be taken for co-authors.
Ms. Chang has asked the first roll to be open for co-authors. The clerk will open the roll. Members, this is for co-authors. The clerk will call the roll, close the roll. 75 co-authors are added. At this time, we can take a voice vote on this item. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.